So you have a replacement motor control board for your treadmill. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. We'll show you how to get it installed and have your machine up and running again in no time. Today we're on location at one of our retail partners, Johnson Fitness and Wellness in Aurora, Illinois, and we're going to be replacing the motor control board on this Matrix T75 treadmill. Motor control boards all vary depending on the make and model of the machine, but on this one we have a drive motor connection, a main power connection, an incline motor connection, a motor fan connection, and a main data cable connection. It's important when you're working with motor control boards or console boards, really any circuit board, that you always want to hold it by the frame. First thing when working on any piece of fitness equipment, or anything electrical for that matter, turn the power off and remove the power cord. After that, we'll remove our motor cover. On this machine, got a couple Allen bolts and two Velcro pads up front. When replacing a motor control board, before removing anything, I always like to take pictures of where all the connections are and what their orientation is. This way, this ensures that everything will go back in the same spot. Like I said before, we've got 5 connections on this, so I want to get shots clearly showing each one to make sure that I put everything back where it belongs. Now that we've got pictures of all of our connections and we know their orientation and where they go, we can start removing things. As you're doing this, make sure you're only touching the connections. We don't want to touch any of the components on the board. I like starting with what's the most visible first. Now make sure you're never grabbing by the wires, and some of these will need to be wiggled off. Some might be a little tight. So that was our incline motor connection. This is our fan connection. Our main data cable. Our main power connection. And finally here, we've got our drive motor connection. Now this is a little tight in here, so I'm just going to slide this screwdriver in here to unclip and then gently remove. Now all the connections are off the board. With our screwdriver, we'll unscrew both mounting screws here and set those off to the side. It is rare, but we brought both of these motor control boards out to show you that the old one includes a jumper cable, the new one does not. This does happen sometimes where a part is not included on the new board and does definitely need to be moved over. So we'll just remove this jumper cable from the old one, install it on the new one, and now we're ready to install the motor control board in the treadmill. Now that we've got the jumper installed on the motor control board, we're ready to install the motor control board into the treadmill. Gently put it back where it was taken from. Line it up with the bolt holes. And screw them both in. Before tightening one up all the way, make sure you get the others in as well so that you know everything will line up properly. Now that that's done, I like installing the connections in the opposite order that they were removed in. So we'll start down here with the furthest to reach one. Got our data cable in there. You heard that click. That's definitely what we're looking for. Over here on the other side, we've got our drive motor. Get that installed. Once again, a nice click, knowing that that's seated properly. Up here, our main power.
Oh yeah.
Listening for that click once more. Then our drive motor fan. And it is very important to make sure that all these are being plugged in correctly and oriented the right way. Some connectors like this Molex, if you reverse it the other way, it will not go in. It only goes in one way. There we go. Check your wire management. Make sure that everything is routed the same way that it was before, and that as the machine inclines, declines, and runs, that nothing is going to rub on anything else to then create wear on those wires. Now that that's all set to go, we're ready to fire it up. Plug the unit in, turn it on. We've got beeps on our console, so now we'll head up there and make sure everything works. Before testing the machine, make sure you haven't left anything on the walking belt. You never want tools flying across the room. Next, hop on, stay down here on the step rails, don't step on the belt. Up here at the console, we can see that everything's lit up just the way it's supposed to be, so now we can start. Once again, make sure your feet are on the step rails, not on the walking belt itself. Machine will count down, and it starts rolling. Slowly increase the speed, and make sure that everything's responding correctly. Test the incline as well. And with both of these, I do always like maxing them out to the highest incline and the highest speed that they'll go. All right, everything seems to be working properly, so we can lower it back down. And once it reaches its top speed, then we can lower that speed down as well. Now, most units will require a calibration after a motor control board is installed. This, however, is not one of those, so we're not going to be able to show that to you today. But as always, consult your owner's manual or call your manufacturer for those instructions. Now that we've tested everything and know that it all works, it's time to put the motor cover back on, and then we'll be done. To be safe, turn off the power once again and unplug the power cord. And in the opposite way of what we did last time, attach the Velcro pads, slide the cover down forward of the bolts, and snug them down. Plug the power back in, turn the machine on, and everything's good to go. Now that you've seen how to replace a motor control board, hopefully it's not as daunting as it looked before. If you're ever in doubt about anything or anything looks confusing in there, make sure you give your manufacturer a call. You don't want to plug something in incorrectly. It could end up blowing your new board, and then you'll be right back where you started. Once again, I'm Dan Thompson with Huff and Puff Fitness Repair. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.